Alright. Okay, looks like everything's good. Alright, welcome back. Part 4 of this art journey. This ED journey. Erectile dysfunction journey. No, I'm kidding. My name is CF. We're back at it again with our watercolor painting series. We're on painting number 4. Yesterday I was afraid it was going to be a short stream because I finished my other painting in like less than half an hour because there wasn't much left to do. And now we're on painting number 4, and this one I feel like we'll have a little bit more work in it because we have not only will John be a little bit more detailed, I think, or maybe not more detailed, but with in regards to like shadow work and whatnot. But also, we could do more with like these bricks and whatnot. We'll see where we head. But I also don't want to spend too much time because I want to go not as quickly, but I want to be efficient as possible with some of these works. So we're getting there. But if you don't know by now, these paintings are for an ED or an ending animation or video for Dan Gennaroni, who chose to remake and has been doing this for the last 40 years and has apparently been sinking a lot of money into this for Fist of the b0rf Star, which was a series I started under a different name back when I was hiding as Lycan Jones, and before I decided to go dedicate myself to my real name and as myself as an artist. Not that stuff wasn't art or anything, but just, I don't know, I decided to, it was time I try to consolidate everything. So, anyways, enough about me. Let's see what we're gonna do next. So, I'm doing this in watercolor for most of you who show up late to this, and mostly the last 3 I've kind of had like a specific color scheme in mind. And for a minute there, I kind of considered maybe doing this one in like almost black and white, just like all gray tones, which I am going to do mostly focus on gray. It'll be more gray and neutral. And so that's what we're going to do here. I think one thing I could always get better at in terms of watercoloring for me is staying, especially if I'm working, is like staying within the lines. It's so easy to F that up, in my opinion. You'd be surprised. And I'm using my number 10 brush because I want to do a little bit more finer work now. And John, like I said, I want to keep this more of a neutral blue. He's got a light blue, so I'm going to use Prussian blue for his shirt. Add a little bit of burnt umber. But not too much. I don't want it to be super gray. Okay. And of course I'm adding a bit more water to lighten it up. Usually with watercolors, you always want to like either add less water, there's usually like a ratio between pigment, it's like a pigment to water ratio. And depending on how much water you use when you're painting will determine how much of how light the color will be. Because like I said, it is watercolor. There we go. Beautiful. Nice. And John's outfit is a little bit more different than his usual like outfit that he wore in the later series. Same color scheme, but I think I changed it a few times. I think some of his outfits kind of references like later ones in this version. For example, like I think a good example would be how I think in the in like the first painting I did, he's like not wearing shoes in the background on purpose. It's kind of meant to be a reference to his shoelessness. And he goes the full shoeless Joe Jackson in season 2 once he gets trapped, which is really weird because considering the fact that like John wore these like brown ass like business shoes, like these normal like brown leather shoes, and he goes from that to like being like this like shoeless, shirtless, afro bearded like kung fu like martial arts master in the second season, like the later half is I think interesting. But also I think a thing I decided to do for his like because everyone essentially has like a war costume, like a Stend War outfit that is slightly different from like their later season stuff. Like Garfield has like similar armor, but he's got his like fur jacket, his like fur cloak. But John, I decided to give like him these shoulder pads. I think that would be fun to have. What else? So, I guess, but also just reminded me that how like these shoulder pads kind of remind me a little bit of both Kenshiro and Jonathan Joestar's outfits in their respective shows. You know. There we go. You know what? That one could use a bit more pigment. I'm not gonna lie. So. I'm not too worried about like having like that little light edge, that little white edge that has kind of become a little popular in a lot of anime or other art styles in general. Like the one thing I've noticed a lot as I follow more illustrators and have gone back to watching more anime is the fact that it seems like there's like an interesting aesthetic choice is to like color is to replicate the look of watercolor in like the digital coloring process for a lot of animes. And the way they usually do it is like they leave this like they'll like do like this kind of fill, but then like we'll leave wherever like the light is coming from with like a little white edge. And I think I've seen it in stuff like I'm trying to remember the name of the anime with the two with where Buddha and Jesus go to Earth to become like on vacation. But that's a good example of it. And I left the cuffs a little wider because for jeans, like the other side of the inside of the jean is usually a little lighter colored than the outside. So there we go. Looking good. And for John's hair, I might as well start the hair now. It's going to be brown, obviously. I think burnt umber is a good color by itself. I'm going to add a little bit of sienna to kind of give it a reddish, give it a bit more pop. Oh well, maybe not too much. I'm going to add maybe a little bit of ultramarine to kind of make it a bit more, to dull it out. Okay, perfect. We'll see how this looks. If it's too light, I'll go in again. And speaking of like artists who work in watercolor, I think that I follow on Instagram and stuff like that, that I follow online. I think another thing I noticed too is it gives like seeing their process videos has been extremely helpful, so I can figure out like approaches to certain aspects of watering color or watercoloring. Sorry, watering color. There we go. Nice. So we got that going on. There's gonna be like so these. I think I'm gonna make gray because I made them gray and metallic in the previous one. But his gauntlets for sure, and his boots will be like a brown color. Same thing with like his belt. Let me add a little bit for the belt loops here. There we go. So for that metallic gray color, I always kind of like how Prussian blue reacts with um, burnt umber because it creates a very light gray, like a kind of very nice bluish. I think for me, I consider it like a metallic gray. So I'm going to do that for that one. And this one, light's coming down from the top, so I'm going to actually do, it's metallic, so I'm going to try to leave some white to kind of replicate that. Alright. Something like that. There we go. A little too close to his shirt color, so I'm going to add a bit more umber there. Make it a little grayer. There we go. Go. A little better. I might have to make this shirt a little bit more bluer later, but for now I think I'll leave it as that. Like I said, these are just like the beginnings. Like I don't mind some stuff looking a little bit more scuffed, as the kids say, because then I can always improve it with the additions of more color. This is just to add to the flatness of it. Alright, and these, there is a little detail here. I chose to add this like bandage around the foot here, or on the boot. They kind of imply some wear and tear that has happened to it, which I like. Nice. And then there we go. I could have gone in there with my. I think I'm gonna. I said I could have, but now it's time I should. It's not a matter of could. It's more a matter of I think I should do that. There we go. There we go. And like these gauntlets themselves were inspired by the gauntlets that Sonny Chiba from the Street Fighter wears in his movies. And the Street Fighter, for those of you who don't know, is this really rad martial arts film series from Japan, starring, like I said earlier, Sonny Chiba, and essentially he's like this rough dude who just goes around and like he's essentially like this like I think he's supposed to be like this paid. I think maybe like he's like one of those kind of martial arts assassins. It's been a while since I've seen it. I remember the first time I encountered it was my 7-Eleven in town when I was in high school had these dollar DVDs at like the checkout stand, and amongst them were because they were all public domain stuff. They were a Street Fighter or the Street Fighter DVD, and I'm gonna lighten that up a little bit. If I go too light, what I like to do is always go in there and like kind of clean up some of this pigment. There we go, like that. So like I said, they used to have stuff like that there, and you know what? I might make that yellow. I like that idea of that being more yellow. So cadmium yellow is too yellow, so I'm gonna go with burnt with a yellow ochre. It's always a good color. There we go. That's better. Nice. And what was I saying? So yeah, they would have like these dollar DVDs that were in like these cardboard slipcases, just the like the plain ass DVD inside these cardboard slipcases with like shitty printing on it. And usually the DVDs have enough room for like I think max 2 movies, which in the case of the Street Fighter would be the Street Fighter and Street Fighter 2, like the thing Street Fighter, like the Return of the Street Fighter, and the other one, I think the other DVDs would be more of the Street Fighter movie series because I guess they're public domain. And I think I got a drink of water there, but not my watercolor water, and then a bunch of like the old Fleischer Superman cartoons, which is how I rediscovered my love for them. I'd seen them when I was a kid because one thing my parents used to do when I was a kid is that they would buy VHS tapes of old cartoons. So even before I could watch like Bugs Bunny or any of the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons on like Boomerang or on Cartoon Network reruns, or even I would still watch like I think was it CBS CBS or ABC they had. I think it was ABC. They would have the Looney Tunes show. So if I wasn't watching them on those channels, my parents had a bunch of old tapes lying around with those cartoons on them. So that was my animation education there. Of course, some of them did not age well because of like some of these companies that would put out these VHS tapes of these older public domain cartoons. Did it obviously to make a quick buck because they just had like, okay, well these are bad transfers. These aren't like good copies of it, but this is what we have. But also like they wouldn't be as long as they had the iconic character in the cartoon. It didn't matter which one you got. And some of them would be weirdly dubbed. Like I think my cousin, he had one. He had a Daffy Duck cartoon. He had a whole tape of Daffy Duck cartoons. One of them had a World War II propaganda one where it was Daffy Duck taking on Nazis, and I didn't even get the context for it at the time. My cousin and I just watched it. We just thought it was fun. But like later on, I realized like, whoa, that was one of those like World War II propaganda cartoons. Like I didn't get that like the names like Schultz for like the little like soldier guy, and like the fact that the main the fact that it took place during a war, the fact that like the uh, the bad guy, the not essentially the Nazi villain, was an eagle, was this big black eagle, essentially. Like it never. I mean, again, this was before we could get educated on this stuff, so it just we had no context for it. We just thought it was a funny cartoon, and now we know better, of course. Now we know that it is like meant to be like a Nazi propaganda, like or anti-Nazi. You know, it's a pro-U.S. propaganda. So it's really weird to think that we were shown that. But then again, this is what I'm talking about. Like these, there would be these like tape companies that would just take whatever public, like whatever Disney, like not Disney, but Warner Brothers cartoon or any really cartoon from any animation studio, mostly MGM or maybe even I don't know. I didn't see any Terry Toons ones, but it would be mostly MGM and Warner Brothers stuff, like really obscure things that I think nobody wanted or cared about anymore, and just like essentially put it out there without any like context. Just like it's got Daffy in it, it's got Porky in it, so who cares? Kids love this shit. It's a little too dark for those eyebrows. Yeah. Oh, I froze. Didn't even notice it. Huh. This has been happening a lot lately. I don't know why. Okay, give me 1 sec, guys. All right, we're good. Nice. I was looking at John's eyebrows. I'm like, those look still too kind of. Those look pretty nice on screen. How come they don't look? They're gonna look darker over here. But there we go. And I colored this pretty quickly. So now I should really work on the shadows now. Like I said, like the lighting is going to be coming down, so I'm not going to do like one side. It's mostly going to be all facing down, very neutral shadow, like not neutral, but very kind of like downcasted shadows, but not strong. So now is the time for. Oh yeah, I should do this window up here. So let's see. But where was I about those cartoons? So yeah, so I had these. So yeah, my parents would just get these cartoons. I mean, mind you, like. Well, I was talking about these cartoons and it was how it connected to that Sonny Chiba movie, but yeah, roughly, it was weird to like grow up with some of these things because like then like the other thing too is like you grow up with these cartoons, you grow up with this love of like Bugs Bunny and like Daffy Duck, and then like your friends in high school don't get that context. They don't grow up with it. That was the other weird thing because I would show up at school. You know, my friends they all have like their stuff that they're watching, and then I would make like a. I remember one time I made like because one of my favorite types of like Looney Tunes or Merry Melodies cartoons would be the ones where they like kind of satirize like Hollywood, where they would essentially like the whole thing would be like a showcase of them making fun of like famous celebrities. And hold on, I need to look something up. And like what I loved about it was one, like the character designs um like for those for like the way they like caricature the celebrities, but also um like how like not only how they character make characters of them, but also like the way they did their impressions of their voice. And like remember Eddie G. Robinson was one that stuck out a lot. And this is before I even made the connection between him and like um, Chief Wiggum in The Simpsons. I didn't even know that was an Eddie G. Robinson like impression. But yeah, I remember one time in like elementary school. It was elementary school. I like did that impression to one of my friends, and he's like, "What are you doing? What is that?" He's like, "Oh, it's Eddie G. Robinson from the old movies." And he's like, "I don't know who that is." He's like, you know. So that's when I realized that like my taste in animation and pop culture was like way different from my friends, and I had to start tempering and keeping it the stuff that they would know, which is like all the stuff that was on primetime television. Like, and sometimes it just wouldn't even be cartoons. I remember there was a brief period I got into like pro wrestling, and that was the thing that was going around like elementary school. Like it was all kids wearing Stone Cold 316 stuff. But anyways, back to like the Sunny Cheek. Like I'm looking it up right now. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page for the Street Fighter, aka Gekitotsu Satsujin Ken. I guess it, yeah, so. So, I guess it, yeah, so it's released by Toei, and I can't remember what this dude's deal is. So I can't remember if he's just like he's just like a paid assassin. I think he's supposed to be like a paid assassin or something. Because remember his name is Tsurugi, and that's one thing I remember a lot. Like, and it's the English dub, so his name was Terry. So, huh. I don't know. I guess I'll have to rewatch it. It's a weird thing. I'm taking up. I'm wasting valuable time here. But anyways, so yeah, I remember what. So I bought both of those DVDs. I bought the Street Fighter and Return of the Street Fighter, and that Superman like Fleischer collection, and both of those things left a huge impression on me because there's a really great X-ray punch in the Street Fighter that I thought was like incredible. And I thought it was incredible because it was like super violent looking, but also um, it was something that I could see myself replicating for one of my home movies. Because I think it was at a period too when I like I think it was my junior year where when I started to be more interested in like filmmaking stuff. So I was looking at it as like a way of like I could recreate that same effect like at home. My camera's got like because the way they do this X-ray punches, um, they have the screen, or they shoot like essentially what they did was like they have like and it's a very rubbery looking skull, but they have this like this fake rubber skull, um, and like this black background, or I guess it would be white, but essentially they have a rubber skull and it's shot in negative, so the skull looks white, the background looks black, and like the fist going into it is obviously negative. So essentially, it's just like somebody punching down on like the top of the skull, and then cutting to like a shot of this guy like spitting blood out of his mouth because of like the fact that like his just skull got caved in. And it's very funny because I think I've replicated that subconsciously a few times. Not a few times. I did that with the Odie and John fight when he does the X-ray punch at the Odie's jaw. and he spits up a bunch of blood. That was for sure an homage to that, which I enjoyed. Um, man, all right. So now, part of me kind of wants to do the brickwork first, but also I kind of like this wash of just like of kind of mottled gray. So I sort of want to ruin this, but I just sort of don't want to ruin it. So I think I'm gonna wait on the brickwork, because I could just start going in and like do the bricks a little bit, like maybe even line it like this, like that. Yeah, maybe do like a slight. For sure here, a little shadow there. Because I've made this gray that's was my usual go-to, which is the burnt umber ultramarine. Like I said before, you always want to have those 6 colors, 7 really if you put white in there. But honestly, white with watercolor, you don't need it. The paper is your white. You don't need white with watercolor because that's your paper. So I don't understand. I've never had to use the China white color on here. Yeah, it's kind of weird and pointless. I don't know. I guess if you mess up so badly, you need somehow. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. I'm happy with that. I think I can afford a little bit more to go in there. Almost dipped it in my drinking water. Jeez. Just go in there, maybe darken these up a little bit. There we go. Model these up. Kind of make it a little dirtier. There we go. Yeah. One thing I always forget too is how the different colors in like light for like the different colors of like brick and concrete work are, you know. Oh, I got Tav texting me Guilty Gear stuff. Gotta tell him why he's not watching me right now. He should be watching me work on this, but he's watching Guilty. He's too busy going on YouTube watching Guilty Gear streams or Guilty Gear videos instead of watching me work on this. We're supposed to be doing on my Twitch channel this weekend. We're supposed to be collabing to cover for my movie talk streams. Which honestly, like, I do like to do, but I need to like really figure out a way to like structure them. I thought like if I could be like kind of cute with okay, maybe that's too, maybe I don't like it. There he is. Gold Lewis Dickinson. It's really me. I was wondering you were gonna show up, Captain. But also, like, everybody, like, the whole Gold Lewis thing's been ruined for me, Captain. Everybody's been talking about Gold Lewis for, like, a long time now. Everybody's been, like, memeing him about how he's the best character so far, so. No, but I was just bringing up the movie talks thing. I'm doing this, I do on Fridays, and just how, like, I wonder now that I've done my face reveal if it's time I can like, I don't know, I like the whiteboard, but it's like too much work, I think, to like have to like keep up and write it. I don't know, I thought like the whiteboard thing is funny, I think, but it's too cute, and it just evolves into me, like eventually the stream just evolves into me essentially making it into like the draw request streams, or me drawing Sonic and Baraka's beautiful relationship that I 100% endorse. That doesn't look too bad. I like the whiteboard thing. Okay. I think so too. It's just gonna be weird. I don't know how we're gonna do the it's like a class, okay. I just don't know how we're gonna like talk about Mikey and Nikki with the whiteboard thing included. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this, because like I know with buildings, like if you notice them, they just don't go straight from brick to. Some of them have like a little like a, I guess I would call it molding, but they have like a little like concrete edge here, and sometimes it's a little lighter than the other thing. Like I was saying, concrete's like a different color between like the concrete for sidewalk and sometimes for concrete bricks. So I need to look up some visual references for that. Okay, never mind. Some of them are just built into the ground like that. Okay. Forget. No, some of them do have that little weird gray edge. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. Although I will always say this, I love concrete buildings. I love, well, not, okay, no, that is a lie. I do like concrete buildings. I'm sorry. I just think they're neat. I think concrete buildings are kind of neat. I know I've talked about this before on like on a different stream about how some people seem to feel that concrete buildings, especially brutalist buildings, are too inhumane looking, but I think they're cool. You fucking dabbed in my chat. Cement das concrete. God. Tab, put yourself on a timeout. Captain, put yourself on a timeout. Captain Tav, time yourself out for a little bit. You dabbed in my chat. That's not cool. No one. Everybody's upset. All the viewers, no matter how, I don't know how many people are watching this. I know you are. So for the sake of everyone here, go ahead and put yourself on a timeout for a little bit, because you goddamn dabbed on my stream. So I need you to repent for your sins. Go to your local church. Go into the confession booth. Say, "I'm sorry, Father, but I have sinned." Just like, what'd you do? It's like, are you back at it again with a chronic masturbation? He's like, no, worse. He's like, worse than that. Explain yourself. And you tell him, I dabbed on Krause's stream. You dabbed on Krause's stream? Yeah. Alright. Well, say like 20 Hail Marys and never do it again. And he'll be like, thank you. He's like, okay, but please be careful. You know, speaking of confession, I was raised Catholic, so there's a lot of that guilt stuff that happens with me, which is, I think I've talked about how, like, I think on the stream I talked about how it took me forever to finally get the confidence to draw pretty girls, because I was always afraid of, like, the seas are free to dab. Oh, you're telling me to hydrate? Is that water? You're telling me to hydrate? Okay. I am trying to drink more water. But, the seas are free to dab. I'll kill you. That's it. The seas are losing their international waters privilege, man. That looks good. I'm glad I did the brickwork first now, because this looks nice. So now I think I'm going to go in and start doing... I'm gonna add a bit more ultramarine to my gray. Make it a bit more bluer. But now I'm gonna do this. So, actually I should do the background first, so. So yeah. No, yeah, so like what I was saying about confession, so yeah, I was raised Catholic and therefore have a lot of that pent up inside me. So, my upstairs neighbor's wilding again. Little weirdo kid. Probably out there beating his friends at Fortnite. Crying to his mom about how he doesn't have any more Fortnite V dollars or whatever they're called. But, yeah, essentially, like, I remember the only time I've ever done confession was, was for my, like, cousin's quinceañera. And, like, it felt so weird because I just, like, I can't really tell this priest everything that, all the sins I've committed. Ultra Hosha Marine Desu. I'll kill you. Um, she's on a break, man. Let her, let her be. She got too horny. She needs to get on a break. But anyways, yeah, it was just weird to like have to go into this confession and be like, yeah, Father, I'm sorry for I have sinned, etc., etc. You really want to hear all the horrible things I've done, man? Like, you don't really want to hear me talk about like, you know, all the stuff that I've really done. Come on, you really want me to tell you? Like, for real? Please no. And like, I think I like softballed my all my sins. I didn't go into like the worst aspects of it, you know. All the sins that a 14-year-old boy has committed at that point. I don't need to say them out loud. Captain, I know you're gonna most likely type it in, son of a bitch. I'm gonna go over to the kid's home and rip his $19 Fortnite card. Her libido will never dry up. I'm not talking about her libido. I'm talking. Um, she doesn't need her full health for her libido to work. Obviously, you know. Even YouTube. I mean, you think YouTube could defeat her libido? Hell no. They tried banning her. They terminated her channel once. They just like, lol, yeah, right. Um, but yeah, just like I couldn't obviously like bring up like the real sins that a 14-year-old boy gets up to this priest. I didn't feel comfortable. I felt wrong. It's just like look, I gotta tell you anything that God already knows, man. Like, if you're my telephone to God, He knows what I've done. All right, I don't need to confess to you. But I know like confession is supposed to be like, I don't know. It's more, in a way, it functions the same way as like people like to think, uh, like forgiveness or whatever functions, and this is different because this is between me and the big fella upstairs, not the kid. um, and he knows if like if like God is like omnipresent and omnipotent and omniscient, then he knows what I've gotten up to as a teenager. Okay, he doesn't. I don't have to tell a priest what I get up to. I had no shame, and I told the priest I swung the hammer when I did my confession. I was the same age too when you did it. I know. I'm just saying that like when like you may have the confidence to tell the priest that that you're about your dates with the rosy palms, about your dates of rosy palms, but and about how you're trying to get hair to grow on your palms and all that, but not me, man. I didn't have that kind of courage as a kid, and I didn't have that kind of confidence. I chose not to reveal those things about myself to him. I decided, like, this is, if God knows, He knows. I don't need to tell you, man. Okay, so like, I think we're cool here. I think we have an understanding. You know, I'm a 14-year-old boy. You know what I get up to. You're a priest. You had those feelings. You know, I ain't gotta tell you nothing. So, yeah, I chose not to say anything. I, so, I just thought it was, I don't know, I just think it's funny. Looking back at it, just like, yeah, I was supposed to do my confession. Carlos, what's for dinner? What's for dinner? I don't know, my wife made, like, some rice and, like some kind of rice and beans with, like, meat concoction that it was very good. It's like a nice kind of, like, rice and beans bowl. So, it's way past dinner time for me, man. Dinner time usually happens around like when I get up in the afternoon. I'm trying to fix my sleep schedule because I feel like getting up in the afternoons, although it offers me more time to spend with my wife, I feel like it's like a weird. I feel like I don't get enough time to. It's also like when internet traffic is too high, in my opinion. Like, because cables could be in the other room trying to watch her ghoul shows or her crime shows on Hulu, and she'll be trying to stream TV, and I'm trying to stream to you guys, and I feel like the traffic is just, it's eating up too much data. And not that it's been a problem yet, thank God. But yeah, I'm really considering changing my sleep schedule up. I mean, I've been thinking about it. I've talked to her about how maybe it's time for me to try to go to bed maybe around 12 again, because I used to do it for other night jobs. What I used to do for other night jobs was I used to go to bed around like 12 and then be up at night around like 8 o'clock. So I still had 2 hours before whatever time my shift started. Because normally most of my jobs have been like around, like, especially if they're night ones, they've been around like 10:30 or 11, roughly around 10. So getting up at 8 o'clock means that I have like an hour to get up, brush my teeth, like make coffee, eat something, and then just like sit down and kind of like watch a little bit of TV, and then commute to work. And now, when I do this other thing, I guess I decided, like, well, because what's the word I'm looking for? It was fine, but the reason I stopped doing it was, one, I didn't see my wife enough, and then two, I didn't. It also just kind of like, it felt kind of weird. I don't know. Like, I felt like I lost too much of the day. But now I'm realizing, like, it's losing too much of what, Because also it works better to, like, be up and treat your morning like the way you treat getting up at, like getting off of work and, like, having to do your, I think I went on our slash night shift, where people who work nights can come and commiserate about their night shift job woes, and I thought, like, what a finally found my people here. I thought, I still think that they haven't come across any problems yet. They seem like a good group of folks who are just trying to make ends meet with the night shift. But I was cruising to see, like, somebody, because I was looking for advice, like, should I go back to sleeping in the afternoons, or should I just go back to sleep as soon as I get to work? Oh my God! Hold on, people. I need to show you a thing. Come here. Oh. My cat was hiding in my room the whole time. Okay, baby. You want to go out? You can. Sorry, I trapped you in here. Wait, no, you can get out. Look. Go ahead. There you go. Normally, my cat, like, recently my cat's been taking to sleeping under my day bed in my workroom a lot lately, so I don't know when she hides in there. The girl, yes, thank you. Maybe go in the middle, sleep around 10 or 11, wake up at 7, 6. I'm doing that now. I sleep around, like, I usually go to bed around 9 or 10, and I wake up around 5, between 5 and 6. I usually want to get up around at 6, or 5. Because also, if I get up at 5, that gives me time to, like, maybe give my wife a ride home from work. Because sometimes she doesn't drive, so it works out for her. But then also, so I'm like right there in the middle. But also the sleep schedule is also, I guess, ideal for people who work night shift, because you're coming off a night shift, you're all tired. Most people who work night shift will just want to go to sleep. But also, like, you don't do, like I said, what I'm trying to get is, like, the word I saw that kind of best describes it is like, you don't get to do all your adulting stuff. I feel like I have less time to adult in the afternoon, you know? Like, the window is so small. I have to get everything done before I get off work, or before I start work, rather. So I don't know. It's a weird thing, because then also, like, you know, a more meta thing here. It gives me also a chance, I think, to I don't know. It gives me a chance to compete with the Australians who are streaming at like 9 in the morning, and try to steal some of their stream views or whatever, as well. So that's the other thing I think too. Just like I said, like, if I do any streaming during the week that isn't on Twitch late at night, I get a chance more to do it in the morning, which means that I can do it more. I guess I don't know. It just gives me more. I can do it more when with more open internet. I guess the signal isn't all clogged up by our streaming services. Because, man, do we need, like, better internet? I don't know what's, like, our internet used to be so good, but I guess, like, I think it's the location we're at right now. It's like really bricks it, man. I don't get it. Because I use like a local internet company, and it served me so well. Like, I'm shocked at how good it was at like our old apartment. But then we switched to this new apartment, and it like friggin' hates this location. Like it's like real Fisher Price internet shit. Like, you can't, like, it's so bad that like Tav let me borrow his HBO Max, but I could not watch HBO Max because the internet is so jank that being on your phone while you're streaming HBO Max, you're pretty much asking it to, like, brick. You make it crash on the big TV. So, which, by the way, Tad, that explains why when you and I kept trying to watch Mortal Kombat that time you came over, it's why, like, the TV kept on, like, crashing essentially. So, and it just mega sucks, man. But I also keep forgetting the call. That's the thing, because like a lot of businesses also don't open up until after 12. So, and then by the time I get up in the afternoon, all the businesses are usually closed around then. So, it's just a big, huge pain. Have you talked about your ISP about an upgrade? I I I, re- I haven't talked about an upgrade yet. Mostly because like I think I feel like like every few months I feel like I end up overpaying for internet, and it just I don't know. It just right now the internet I have is like I said, it's never really been a failure before, but just recently it's been super shitty. I mean, I stream fine now, like, but also like I think it's also because like my poor unfortunate wife has like made the horrible realization that like great like so Kralos is streaming, so that means I I just have to sit in my living room quietly by myself while he eats up the internet uh, data. So I think that'll be my excuse. I just feel like, look, listen. I'm trying to do my hobby here, and you're not letting my wife watch her murder shows. You understand me? I need you to do this for me. Do one thing for me. Get Mendoza. But yeah. So I don't know. I've considered it, but also just like like what if it's just like what if I am in just like a bad location? You know, like what if I do end up paying more for internet, for better internet, as it like you should really. Um, but like the better internet never comes. Like what if it's just still the same jank internet? You know. That's my fear. Yeah, Wave closes like at 6, so I guess like I still have like an hour to call them. But I don't know. It's just a matter of like remembering to do it too, because I've been slacking on it, to be honest. So it's also my fault. Nice. Also, I saw that Big Fella's the Tempu edition came out today, and that was very exciting. Not the voice I expected to come out of old Sex Tempu there. A lad who. It's weird how like my return to streaming has allowed me to get closer to the likes of Dan Gennaruni and the rest of Studio Loans. It's very interesting. It's I never really imagined this like future for me really. So, but it's like I said before. Like I think I was saying yesterday. It's encouraging to see guys like especially like Danjin like being so encouraging of like the Borstar style. Like he really enjoys my the style I draw in for Borstar because he likes how different how I guess how unique it is. Like the shapes are like he's kind of described it before. Like the shapes um, are more emphasized in like my Borstar style. I'm gonna add some dirt to these boots. Some of this might not even be dirt. It might just be dried blood. John kicks the shit out of people. There we go. I pay $49 for AT&T, and it's the pretty fast as an app poop and doesn't poop on me. That's the thing, though, Tav. I think just making sure I'm not frozen. Um, that's the thing for me, though. I what I like about Wave is that there's no contract, so I can just choose to give up. And plus, like my apartment complex has a whole racket with Wave, so even if I switch to AT&T, um, I guess I lose on like some deals or whatever. I don't know. Like there's like allegedly I'm supposed to be getting better deals, but also it might also explain why the internet can be so jank, because it's just like, well, we're giving it to them at like a dumb price. So, but then also like I get like like the apartment I live in, the complex, like we get like I said, I think they have some deal with like our local internet like company, and like like we get like a cable box with our apartment, and like in the specific complex I'm in. So um which I'm gonna have to start using, because the Olympics are coming up this weekend, and I love the Olympics. Like, I'm not really a big sports person, but like, goddamn, when the Olympics start up, like for some reason it awakens something in me. Maybe it's like the whole original idea behind the Olympics that like gets me going again. The idea of like, let's put our differences aside, and like us as countries just compete like good sportsmen. So I don't know. It's this whole that like awaken. Like I said, it awakens this hopeful part of me. The Olympics do, so we'll see. Well, I mean, we'll not see, but like I'm definitely gonna keep up with them, and I know at my work, like in our break room, we always keep it on at ESPN, because if we put it on CNN, the oldsters get upset because the they disagree with the politics, or they don't want to be upset by the politics all the time. So, which I think is a smart move, anyways, because it's, we don't want the break room to erupt into a shouting match every day. So it's a smart move. That's looking pretty good. Your current apartment isn't far from the initial apartment, and it was pretty good. So I think you should just call them when you rise. Okay, well, I'll see what they can do. I mean, also, I mean, we did have a few weeks one time in our old apartment where where the internet did uh, decide to brick on itself, and we had the like, it's funny because our old apartment was smaller. Like, my old apartment was smaller, and I mean my wife and I's. Um, our old like the apartment we used to live in was smaller. I frankly kind of liked it. In retrospect, I kind of do like it. In retrospect, a bit more. But also, I would not have like half the room I have now, well, for myself. So the idea of ever going back to that old apartment is like, I would lose out on the privacy and the ability to like stream in peace. Um, but then also like I said, but also I would be paying less. So who knows? Um, but then again, all the rent's always rising in California, so I really got to start looking into finding a way to either like tell the municipalities that like, hey, I'm a working class Joe. Like, don't be fooled by my lofty pursuits of art and the like. Uh, if you keep raising rent like this, you're making a big mistake, Pally. So, um, but no, like I don't think I'd be able to do half the stuff that I do now. Um, in our old apartment. So I'm a little grateful for the opportunities that living in this new place offers. I just miss paying less. I just miss having extra money at the end of the month from my paychecks for myself. But then also, like, it comes with the territory of, you know, because for a hot minute there, like the only reason we moved into this bigger place because the job I had last year paid me more than my previous job, and just like it made things seem more possible. But now that like I don't have that job anymore for a lot of shit reasons, um, I don't want to get into. I think he looks done. That looks pretty good. It's a good John. Um, yeah, so like it's just now I have to make do with constantly trying to make ends meet. I don't know. Like I'm in the same situation. Like I always realize that like a lot of my own situation financially comes from the fact that like I'm in like mega debt, or I'm trying to get out of like I'm still in mega debt uh, from my art school years, which mega sucks because it's like yeah like it's a thing nobody tells you about when like because I talked about like high school I think like recently, and how like no one tells you about we really don't prepare our kids in this country for college or any kind of like continuing education, you know. So I really had no idea that I would be stuck with thousands of dollars in the I would owe to these various uh, lenders. So at least some of them seem to be consolidating themselves by themselves, because some of these lenders like go out of business very quickly sometimes, and then just like sell them to the other place, and they happen to be. It's all turning into one big racket, is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, enough of this depressing stuff. You should talk to Gavin Newsom, him directly. Tell him to give you money. You know what? I will. I'm gonna go. I live nearby Sacramento. He should be at the Capitol. I'll just tell him, hey, dog, you owe me. Give me money for rent. I'm tired of this bullshit. I didn't get this. Don't don't tread on me tattoo for nothing. Just so I could fit in with that biker gang outside. I got it so I could tell you not to tread on me. And then I realized what kind of people have the "Don't Tread on Me" flag tattooed on them. I was like, never mind. You know what? You know what? I thought of a really funny way to troll the "Don't Tread on Me" like the "Don't Tread on Me" flag people, because I have like my apartment right now. We have it's like right in front of this like business. These like two weird construction like businesses, or really three, and they're like I don't know. They're kind of weird. Like I think our like handyman has like hinted at like, or our like maintenance guy has like maybe hinted at the fact that like one of these places might actually be like a secret meth lab or something. Um, I don't know. I don't want to. I don't know how. I don't know. Maybe he's just like super embittered about like some of these people, like who come and go. I don't know. It's kind of a hot spot for like hot. It's like these like businesses are like weird hotbeds for kind of shady things. I think. I don't know what's going on. I could just be overthinking it, but um, the main big business with like these like big workshops and like tools are like one of them. They decided to put up like a "Don't Tread on Me" flag, but the thing is that their flagpole where it's located is like covered up by these branches, and the branches like prevent you from seeing it. So they decided to start cutting some of them down, and they couldn't pull all of them down, I guess, either because they didn't have the proper tools or the branches were too tough. So they left some of them covered like in front, and the flag is still not fully visible. But I can recognize it because it's no, we all recognize the big blue jank flag all the time, the big blue snake flag. But I thought of a good way to troll some of these people with their beloved snake flag is get get the flag and change it from "Don't Tread on Me" to "Tread on Me, Daddy," and have the snake have like draw like blush on the snake's face while it's being like stepped on by like a leather boot or something, and just make it to like this weird bondage thing instead. So that'd be a good way to like upset these weird, these squares, I think. Okay. There we go. I like that. It's something I've really been considering doing. Doing this "Please Tread on Me" flag. Have the snake be blushing and looking up while like make it a BDSM snake flag. But anyways, speaking of things that are done, like I think this is done. Like I don't think I'm gonna do a better job than what I have here. I think this is good. Oh, shoot. So, there's graffiti that goes on here. It's supposed to be graffiti. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm glad I remembered it, because otherwise, I don't know though. Like I think I like it without the graffiti now. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it looks great. Captain Kidd, should I put on the graffiti? Because this is the original drawing here. Dang, where is it? I gotta organize my life a little better. Do you think it looks better this way, or do you think I should add the graffiti from this? Because I sort of think it looks good the way it is now. I like this kind of peaceful John. Just kind of hanging out here. Like this moment of rest between these like horrible battles, you know? I think I feel like putting the graffiti in ruins it. I think I can lose the graffiti. Because I think I think it looks great the way it is. I think I agree. I think it looks great. I think it looks done, to be honest. I feel like if I put, because like the graffiti, it doesn't need the graffiti, but it also wouldn't hurt it. I feel like it would hurt it because I feel like it would take away from it. I mean, mind you, the graffiti would also be hard to like replicate the graffiti too. Like, I don't know. I feel it's a conflict because I could put like Sten's Burn in Hell up here, and then Fist for Life maybe up over here. But also, I like what I've done. You know what? I'm gonna sleep on it. Or not gonna sleep on it. I'm gonna rest on it a little bit. I'm gonna let this sit as it is for today or for tonight. Because I gotta go to work in a few hours. So I think I'm gonna leave it alone, and then when I come back tomorrow morning, I'll decide whether or not it needs what I said it needs. Because I think it looks fine the way it is. There's something nice and peaceful. I feel like in between the drama of the other ones, as like having these moments of like contemplation, especially since like the previous one had Lyman in front of. Let me see. Let me pull those out again, because I feel like going from. Well, I mean, I think Danjin is gonna decide what order he wants to put these in, but having this before it and then going to this versus also the drama of like this one, and as well as like this as well, you know. Like I think it works without the graffiti. I think I mean, yeah, I think it works without the graffiti. Yeah. I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm gonna leave it alone for now. If tomorrow I come back and I still like it without the graffiti, I'm gonna leave it as is. But I think tomorrow I'm also gonna. I think I'll take a break from streaming, so I'll just kind of work at my own pace on the next one. Or I don't know. I might stream tomorrow. I'll see how I feel. I usually like to just sneak 1 or 2 streams in before. No, because I don't know. I'll see how I feel tomorrow. But I'm gonna call it a night here. I'm gonna let this thing rest for a little bit. Gonna let everything just go the way it's going. So I guess this comes to the end of this here stream. So I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and watching me finish this thing up. I think John looks beautiful. I think this is the most beautiful he's ever looked. Even more handsome and beautiful than he's ever looked in like in papier towns or paper towns, which I think is the most handsome I've ever drawn him. I think like the most handsome version of John I've ever drawn is him in paper towns, which was a weird thing. It was supposed to just be a solo one-off, just me griping about the movie Paper Towns, the movie adaptation of it, and I wrote myself into a corner and I decided, fuck it, John is in here. It's now connected to the Garfield universe.